Hi, I'm Stacy with Edgewater Creative.
And I'm Tia with Done Classy Events.
We're two small business owners who reside in the beautiful city of Dunedin, Florida.
We love our charming city on the Gulf and want to share with you all it has to offer.
Join us as we chat with business owners, event hosts, and charities located in Dunedin and other surrounding communities.
So come along and meet us on Main Street.
I'm just going to jump in today. Hello and welcome to another edition of Meet Us on Main Street podcast, starring the illustrious Tia Lawton.
And the beautiful co-host, Stacy Dennison. Were you worried I wasn't going to know how to pronounce your name?
I'm always afraid you're going to forget my name. I don't know why.
That would be, I think that on my deathbed in 80 years, when I'm laying there, you will be my rosebud, Stacy Dennison. As I drop the Meet Us on Main Street the globe out of my hands and it rolls on the floor.
That reference is so relevant because we actually just watched Citizen Kane for the first time a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
So did you ever know what people meant when they were saying like rosebud, or were you like, what the
I didn't know what rosebud meant. I knew it was associated with the movie, but I didn't know what it meant.
It's a really good movie and it holds up. It stands the test of time.
We did give it our 2 thumbs up holds up test.
That's a pretty big thing too.
You know what?
Giving something 2 thumbs up.
You know what does not hold up that got 2 thumbs down that we watched recently? Because on Sundays, we used to do Sopranos Sundays during the quarantine, and now we're out of Sopranos episodes. So we started doing classic movie Sundays.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So every Sunday we watch a classic movie after making a nice Italian meal. And
only way to do it.
And last week we watched The Graduate. And it got 2 thumbs down, does not holds up. Actually, we never finished watching it. About 20 minutes left. I was like, I'm tired and this sucks. I'm done.
Yeah, that one really doesn't hold up because now it's just called child molestation, I think is probably the proper term of it. So yeah, certain films from then, but like, I like that you went black and white. Those ones are always, I love some good old, like Cary Grant. Oh, they don't make men like Cary Grant anymore.
Speaking of Cary Grant, I was looking at different possibilities for Classic Movie Sunday this week, and I was watching a trailer for The Philadelphia Story, and Cary Grant is in it, and he punches Katharine Hepburn in the face in the trailer.
How 50s?
And she like falls backward. It was made in 1940. And then
40s, even better.
Also in the trailer, some younger girl in it is like, are you gonna punch her in the face again? Ha ha ha. Like, it's hilarious. And I'm like, okay, not gonna add that one. I can already tell you, does not hold up.
So a really good Cary Grant, besides An Affair to Remember, which will always be one of my favorite movies. I mean, when you have movies that they remake that many times afterwards, like you got a classic. But Arsenic and Old Lace is a really good Cary Grant movie. And essentially it's like these 2 old widows that go around, was it? I think it's the same one where they go around killing like their tenants or something.
Isn't it it was like
murder mystery and
based on an Agatha Christie novel?
I believe so, yes.
And it was also a play as well.
Yes, but that one is an excellent Cary Grant one if you're trying to look for something in that realm. But An Affair to Remember is always a fantastic one too. It has nobody's fault but my own. I was looking up. It was the closest thing to heaven. You were there.
Oh boy.
Love. Yeah, I have some of that memorized. I may like it. I may have seen it once or twice, but well, that's awesome. I'm glad you are reconnecting with classic movies because I love watching movies pre-CGI and like when everything was always about the acting. I mean, It wasn't always the best, but like that's the only thing you had to really drive a movie is your acting.
And I love like the old dance ones too.
Mm.
Like I made Dominic watch, which usually for Classic Movie Sunday, neither of us have watched it, but I was like, it's one of my favorites. We have to watch it.
Yeah. This is
Singing
how
in
you
the
force them
Rain.
to
Yeah.
watch movies you want. That's what I've done. Yeah, I've done that to John. It's okay.
So it was Singing in the Rain,
Love that
and
movie.
just
Oh,
always
Debbie
impressed
Reynolds.
by the dancing. The
Oh my
dancing
gosh.
was so good.
Debbie Reynolds is so gorgeous too. And I grew up watching like old Debbie Reynolds, like when she was like moms and things in like Halloween Town. But then you see in that, you're like, oh my gosh, like back when
Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor was stealing her husband. Ah,
Mhm. Good
that's it.
stuff.
What did he think of it then?
He gave it a thumbs down. He said
Aw.
does not hold up. And it is kind of a cheesy movie. I'll give it that. But the dancing and singing, superb.
Yeah, that will be a test of time. If anything else, just remember the song "Singing in the Rain," or the "Good Morning" one, which does get stuck in my head quite often.
Good morning.
Yes, that one. And now I hope it's stuck in some of our listeners' heads as well. Awesome. Well, that's a lot of fun.
What
I
have
could
you
talk
been
about
up
old
to?
movies all day. And then my last one that I suggest to you is Streetcar Named Desire. If you have,
Oh yeah, that's on the list.
yes, it's another Stella. There's so many references from old movies that you don't get in new stuff unless like you've seen. You're like, oh, that's the thing, but you're like, it's from that. So me, I went to the movies the other day and saw the movie Nobody, which has Bob Odenkirk in it.
Oh,
And
is that the Marvel one?
No. It's essentially he used to be like a crazy CIA assassin, and then now he's living like a home life, but then he's like so bored in his routine that he ends up like getting pulled back into his old ways, which is like literally a perfect role. Do you know who Bob Odenkirk is, right? Yeah. It's a perfect role for him because he's got like, he comes from a comic background like Mr. Show, but then like, he's also like Saul from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So he's also can be like an asshole. So he's like, you always root for him. Like no matter what, you're like, yeah, Odenkirk, you're going to get yours. So it's really good. And I also found out, and we didn't do this, but I thought this is a really cool idea, and I don't know how long they'll be doing it for, but you can rent out like whole theaters now for like $99. Like
you could always do that.
For $99 though, I thought it was always a lot more.
It might have been more expensive at one point in time.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking COVID made it cheaper and like easier to do that, because I was pretty sure like it was harder and like a lot more expensive to rent out a theater. But I thought that's a really freaking cool idea to do for a birthday. It's only like $99 and you can see like Back to the Future or like older movies and stuff on there. But yeah, so maybe for my birthday this year, or maybe we'll do something for the podcast. Who knows?
At $99, anything's possible.
I know. Come on, next stimmy check. We're going to the movies, guys. Been really nice chatting with you guys, but I'm wearing this taco hat because our guest today is none other than, take it away, Stacy.
Our guest today is Tina from, everyone knows it, Casa Tina, Downtown Dunedin. It's a classic. It's been there for almost 30 years, as you'll hear in our episode.
Hey guys, meet us on Main Street here. Stacy and I are all about staying young and beautiful, so we wanted to share with you a salon that we recently discovered to take care of all of our beauty needs.
That's right, Tia. Beauty on Broadway offers everything from the most complex hair treatments like keratin and balayage to advanced permanent makeup for lips, brows, eyeliner, and even scalp micropigmentation. The owner, Mary Katz, is a nationally certified and recognized trainer for permanent makeup who holds over 25 certifications from the most prominent artists around the world, so she really knows her stuff.
And everyone who works there are true professionals who make sure their clients get exactly what they want.
You know what else is awesome about them? They do free paramedical tattooing for all breast cancer survivors.
That is awesome. And they were just ranked among the best in the nation for their COVID-19 procedures. So you have a clean and safe space to go get away from the world and just let loose.
You guys seriously need to go check them out. Visit their website for more information and to make your appointment today at beautyonbroadway.salon. All righty. Today we have a special episode of Meet Us on Main Street. We are interviewing the one, the only Tina from Casa Tina in Dunedin. I think everyone knows Casa Tina.
I feel like you're the original restaurant that's still in downtown Dunedin too.
One of for sure. There's a couple. Yeah. There's Kathy, that was the original owner, one of the original owners at Kelly's, who is now still with Blur. So, she's no longer with Kelly's. And then Sylvia from CC Riders and myself, I think we're about the only remaining original. Candy from the brewery as well, but she started after me, but not too much after me. So yeah, we have a lot of really strong business women downtown. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm glad to be part of that group.
So Tina, tell us a little bit about how you came to settle in Dunedin.
Oh my goodness. It actually was by chance because my husband and I met in 1984 in Miami. I was there, kind of got kicked out of my home in Philadelphia and landed in Miami at the age of 17 and started working with him. We had so much fun there. It's a really fun place to live, but then we got pregnant and I was like, oh, I don't want my children to have the same kind of fun that I'm having here when they're growing up. We need to move away from here. So we really were looking for a very family oriented place because we really wanted, that was our focus, was we wanted to have children and we wanted them to grow up in a very safe and sound environment. And so we set out around Florida looking for a location. And we had been to the West Coast on our honeymoon, as well as other places. And we remembered Clearwater, that everybody like spoke to you when you were walking. And we were like, are they talking to us? Because in Miami, you just kind of, don't pay attention to other people. So we said, well, let's go check out that area. So we landed in Indian Rocks Beach. We started looking at restaurants that were for sale and locations all over the Tampa Bay area. And we honestly looked at over 100 locations and we didn't find anything that we liked. And we were so kind of defeated. We were like, oh no, we were running out of money because we didn't have a lot of cash. And we set out for a Christmas event to go up to Tarpon Springs because there was something in the paper about it. And we were driving along alternate 19. We passed CC Riders and then you could see Main Street ahead. And when you saw down there, you could see Santa Claus and horse and buggy rides and all that kind of stuff. And we were like, oh, that looks hokey and wonderful. Let's try that, because our baby was just 7 months old. So we parked the car, got the buggy out. We're walking down the street and it was just literally just so charming. And then we went past the corner of what is now Pan y Vino. And there was a little for sale sign in the corner there. And it was just one of those like, oh, moments where you're like, the gods have spoken. This is your restaurant. Mm-hmm. So we literally called them that evening, made an appointment with them because they were closed. Can you imagine? There were like thousands of people down there and they were closed because they only did breakfast and lunch. And so we made the appointment for next day and the rest is history. That was in January of 1992. So we're coming up on our 30-year anniversary next year, which is just incredible. I can't believe that much time has gone by.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So the original restaurant wasn't actually Casa Tina's, right? Or was that Dunedin Grill that you bought?
Yeah, we bought the Dunedin Grill. And believe it or not, we actually, in the very first days, thought we would do a breakfast and lunch business. Because we had been doing the restaurant business for 8 years and we had no social life. We worked every weekend and evenings and holidays. And we were like, well, it would be really nice to do a breakfast and lunch restaurant and have evenings off. Well, we discovered very quickly we hated it. We just were like, this is not for us. We are restaurateurs and we don't wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's when we go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sometimes you think you want something until you actually experience, then you go, oh yeah, no, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. So then we were like, let's go back to what we know and what we do well, which is the Mexican food, because that's what we had. It was a restaurant called Senior Frogs in Miami, which kind of has a lot of notoriety, but we were separated from the Senior Frogs chain. We're independent and we were also very family oriented. But yeah, so we started having Mexican specials on the menu board. And the people that had been coming there as a breakfast and lunch place for 40 years were kind of freaking out. They're like, what's a burrito? And why is there tacos instead of the open-faced turkey sandwich today? But we couldn't afford to close. We literally started working that business. We bought it on the 18th. The 19th, we opened the doors and ran their menu and never closed one day because we didn't have any money. And so for us, it was just get in there and start working. And that's what we did. And then we just slowly changed it into, at first we couldn't even come up with a name. So we called it Dunedin's Mexican Grill. Just because it said Dunedin Grill, so we just stuck Mexican in the middle until we could come up with the name. And then Javier kept saying Casa Tina's, and I kept saying no. And then when we finally decided that was it, it just stuck. It sounds good. It's easy. And now I think he's kicking himself because it's kind of, Tina.
Yeah. It's like, damn it. Should have just called it Javier's.
Yes, although honestly, people wouldn't be able to pronounce it, even though Dunedin is so much more definitely educated and global now than it was 30 years ago. They would have said Javier,
right.
And because that's what I called him when I met him. So I didn't know what he was called, but I thought he was cute.
All that matters.
I'm from Philadelphia. I didn't know any Spanish.
Yeah. And now you know so much.
Yes, I do. I'm fluent in Spanish.
Yeah.
I've embraced the culture. I love it. It's a wonderful, wonderful culture.
So speaking about the culture, I love that, I wasn't around during the original days, so I don't know what it used to look like, but I love what it looks like now and how you've brought in the culture from Mexico, and the decor is so beautiful within the restaurant. And I know some of that has some history to it. So tell us a little bit about, I guess for those of our listeners that maybe aren't local and don't know Casa Tina's, tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
Sure. So again, in the early days, we didn't have any money. So we kind of did the very cheap decor of, painting chili peppers all over everything. And we used to have hot sauces, and people could bring us a bottle and then they get a free drink, and we put the hot sauces on the shelves. But that was the style in the early 90s, was very much like chili peppers. And, that kind of got old. And as we have made money, we've always made it a point to put the money back into the restaurant. We want it to be a beautiful place for the customers and also the staff that works there. We spend so much time there. So we want it to be welcoming and warm and interesting, and we want it to tell a story. So my husband's from Guadalajara, which is the second largest city in Mexico, but close to there is the heart of Mexico where all of the handicrafts come from. And in those areas, each area has a specialty. So one town makes tin, where they make like the punched stars that you see that are hanging on the chandeliers. Another area does carved wood. Another area makes things out of copper. Another area out of ceramics. And that actually came from a Spanish priest when they first conquered Mexico in the 1500s. They taught the people to keep the art within their family and their community, so that people would have to go there to get those pieces of art. So it would make their community strong and give them a sound fiscal base for their little pueblos. But that's what's so fun, is then you can go and exactly when you go to this town, you're just going to find a huge group of families that are making exactly the same type of things, whether it's metal or wood or copper, but then they put their own style, their own artistic touches on it. So it's so much fun for us because we get to go and travel there and go shopping. And a güera, which is a blondie in Mexico, they just love it. So and then they're always really shocked that I speak Spanish and I know so much about the culture, but I have a lot of fun just joking around with them. And so when we expanded, we were able to do that. We've expanded twice, and we went twice and got an 18-wheeler full of furniture. And if you look on the patio and you look up, there's a wooden canoe that's 14 feet long that's hanging up there. And it's actually a dugout wooden canoe that we brought from Mexico. Just really cool. And so it's kind of a museum.
Yeah, it is.
And sometimes people say, oh, that's new. And I'm like, no, it's been there for 10 years. But because there's so much to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you sit in a different area and you have a different vantage point. So you notice something else.
Exactly. And speaking
Yeah.
of vantage points, you also have the cirque shows.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
So
where did
yeah.
that originate from?
So both of my kids grew up doing the arts. So we started them in music lessons when they were really young. I never had to tell them to practice because if you have two siblings that are, especially an older boy and a younger girl, they're always trying to outdo each other because the older boy doesn't want to be shown up by his younger sister. So they would always practice. So they were just great at music. And then once my daughter got a little bit older, she got more into dance, and she was doing all the traditional styles of dance, tap and ballet and jazz. And then somewhere we saw this circus arts, and I don't even remember where we saw it at first, but my daughter started going there and training down in Clearwater. It's called Clearwater Dance and Circus Arts. And then when we were expanding the restaurant, my mind was like, oh. So I had the director come up and I had her look at the ceilings. I'm like, is this going to be high enough? And she's like, barely. And I'm like, can we do it? And she was like, sure. So we put it in there, and it's been such a hit because part of our focus at Casa Tina is to support the arts. We do believe that with the funding getting cut, especially in schools, that we have to have areas for our children to get involved in the arts. And by supporting that, even just by showcasing it or doing fundraisers for them and things, it helps keep that alive, even if it has to be in after school programs or whatever. And so the two just mixed really well for us, the love of what my daughter was doing and the fact that we want other children to experience that and be exposed to it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's fun to watch while you're eating.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I don't know, most people don't understand like why we don't have mariachis all the time or something like that. When 9/11 happened, they stopped something called an entertainment visa. An entertainment visa would allow somebody to come in from a country like Mexico and be here for 6 months on an entertainment visa, and they would perform. So they would come and they'd be part of a mariachi band. And now the members would be staggered. So Jose would have to leave, and then another guy would come. And then next month, Pablo would have to go back, and another guy would come and take his place. Well, after 9/11, they took that away. So you had only the people that were legally here in the United States that do that art. And then where are they going to go? They're going to go where they're going to get the most money. So New York, Los Angeles, Miami. Mm-hmm. We don't have any performers here. And then when we have a holiday like Cinco de Mayo or Day of the Dead, it's, 100 Mexican restaurants in the Tampa Bay area vying for the two mariachi bands that are here.
Right. So
on occasion we get one to perform, but it's very difficult. So anyway, that's why people say, oh, you have the cirque, but you don't have mariachi. Well, there's not mariachis around. We would love to have that too.
Well, I love that you guys did start with the cirque because it's so unique, and yes. It really makes you guys stand apart from other restaurants in the area.
Mm-hmm. And we have more exciting things to come in the future with that too. Ooh. So because it's not happening right now because of COVID, right? But as soon as all the restrictions are retracted, then of course we'll do it again. And then we do have future plans too that'll showcase it even more, which is really exciting.
Fun.
Yes.
Trapezes?
I can not say anything. We don't say things until they're actually.
We have a way of just pulling things out of people here on Meet Us on Main Street.
Yet, so
oh, damn it!
Should have made.
It's right behind you.
7:00.
Oh man, now we know.
Yes, next time.
Part 2.
Yeah, yes, exactly. After hours with Tina.
Yes. Número 2.
Sí. So you guys also own Pan y Vino, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be as well.
Sure. So Pan y Vino, the literal translation is bread and wine. So pan being bread and E is the word for and vino is wine. A lot of people don't know that. So when they see the writing, they're like, I don't know what that is. Bread and wine.
Pan y vino?
Yeah, pan y vino. People say that all the time. Pan y vino. But that's okay. Again, it's the area is getting more and more educated about Spanish, and so no more people will understand it in the future. But what happened was when we used to lease that building. So the space where Pan y Vino is, we leased that for 16 years. We tried to buy it. The guy would not sell it to us, the owner. Then we had the chance to buy the building next door, and we moved Casa Tina's next door because we needed more space. You know, we had a waiting list outside the door for years and years and years, and everybody wanted to bring their grandma, their aunts and uncles at Christmas, and they call and say, we have 20 people. Well, we only had 65 seats in that restaurant. So, you know, we just could not handle the capacity at all. So when we moved over, then we told the landlord, okay, we're taking this space. We'll just finish our lease here. And then when the lease is over, we'll give it back to you, because we really didn't want to keep paying rent. You know, we've been working so hard. We want to own our properties and secure our future. So a couple years into the end of that lease, because it was going to be 20 years in total, and we were at year 16. At year 19, he said, I sell it to you, because of course he knew that the person that's going to pay the most for it would be us. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody else is going to come along and say, oh, it's falling apart, and he was going to nickel and dime him, and he wasn't going to get what he wanted for it. We already there. We had so much history there. Our kids grew up sleeping in those booths. My husband and I tiled the floor and built the bar ourselves. Like, we had no money, and we have done everything. When we were starting restaurants, we took classes for electrical, tiling, of fine carpentry when we were in Miami, because we knew that we would have to do these things in our restaurant. So we prepared ourselves. But anyway, when we decided to keep it, then we're like, okay, what are we going to do? Because in the meantime, in that interim, we just had it as a little wine bar. So it was kind of overflow for Casa Tina's while we still had a waiting list, even though we expanded. And then we were like, gosh, well, we always make pizza at home. And it's one of the favorite places we love to go to travel is the Mediterranean area. So we're like, let's do a little pizza place and wine, because I'm a big wine lover. I have to show you this. I should have brought it with me, but my friends were over for my birthday, and this is
nice.
There it is. Those are usually just the display ones.
Oh yeah, no, they don't last for display here. I have a whole bunch of them. They always bring me them for my birthday.
That's awesome.
But anyway, it was just something that we enjoy in our free time, which is to cook that type of food and drink wine. And so again, you want to do your business, you want it to be something that you enjoy. So we weren't just going to open something that was just to make money. It always has to have some connection to us on a personal level, because you're going to spend so much time doing that. Right. So it just made sense. And we love it. It's our little retreat from Casa. Casa is so much fun, but it's so loud and so busy. And Pan y Vino is where we go, and we go, yeah. We sit, we have our wine, and we relax, and it's the same idea as Casa Tina's. I'm vegetarian, so everything that we do is completely made from scratch. I don't believe in anything from packages. I believe that the food should be healthy and should feed you and taste good. So our pizza's really good, and I've gained a little COVID weight here, so I need to stop eating the pizza and drinking the wine.
I think everyone has.
Yeah.
This past
Everyone's
year.
gained. It's like hibernation. We're all bears. We've all gained 20 to 25.
I wish I would have gone the other direction though, and been like just super, super into working out. But it's just that little bit of like stress relief at the end of the day that you're like, yeah, I deserve that wine.
Well, you also do a lot of cycling, I see.
Every day. I'm a cyclist. I love to cycle. We live in the perfect place for it. I live 2 blocks off at the Pinellas Trail here. And my loop is a perfect 17-mile loop that goes out through Honeymoon Island and through the park, and there's a nature trail there. So it's absolutely beautiful. I started cycling when I was 17 out of necessity. I didn't have a car, and I needed to get back and forth to work. So I got a bicycle, and it's my stress reliever. It's my escape. It's my fun. Wherever we travel, we rent bicycles, or we do biking when we're traveling, so that we can drink more wine and eat more food at the end of the day.
Smart.
Of course. Talking about Pan y Vino, well, how long has that been there now?
So since we moved from the one location to the other location, which was 2008.
Oh,
so
okay.
13 years.
Yeah.
13 years. And then we expanded again into the space that now has those pretty chandeliers that are hanging. We expanded there 5 years ago. So 2 expansions. And then we did over the last years, we bought 3 properties that are behind Casa Tina's. We just work really, really hard. We save all of our money. And for me to be invested in the future of Dunedin for ourselves, but also our children, we have 2 children that are 30 and turning 30 next weekend, 27. And, they may be interested someday in coming down and being in business. They've worked with us, but now they're kind of doing their own thing for a little while. Remember that I really didn't decide I wanted to be in the restaurant business until I was 40, even though I started doing it when I was 17. So I'm giving my kids the benefit of the doubt of like, I wouldn't want to like not have something for them available in case they decide like, oh, I'd love to be involved in the family business. There's no rush for them to get into that. So we're preparing for the future. We wouldn't want to not have opportunities for them because Dunedin's so great and it's so hot that, if you didn't kind of get a piece of property in the heart before, you're probably kind of priced out at this point.
That's smart. Yeah. Super smart. Buy it up while you can.
Yeah. Well, it was 8 years, over 8 years we acquired and paid but that was a great choice for sure.
Did COVID affect I know it affected you guys being closed and stuff, but did it affect getting any of your ingredients?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So we were closed for 2.5 months. We've never been closed, like it's hard to explain to people that like I had my baby and 3 days later I went back to work. Never would have expected something like this. And then of course the pressure of having, at that time we had 90 employees and 90 employees saying, when are we going back to work and when are we opening, and calling us every day. And because a lot of them do live paycheck to paycheck, and that's very scary. So for one, of course, was just the lack of being able to do anything. And then people didn't realize and still don't realize to today, because we do get complaints once in a while about the menu size or the ingredients. There's still a lot of things that are not available. I'm sure you're all aware of this blockage that just happened in the Suez Canal in Egypt with the huge freighter that had all of the cargo on it that blocked all cargo from coming for 2 weeks. Well, that is going to have a huge effect. And we were already behind with shipments because things weren't being produced and things couldn't be shipped. And so it's a trickle down effect. Like we don't get any products from China, but definitely things that they're packaged in, maybe the cans or the wrapping or whatever, it affected everybody. So the prices have just gone crazy up. If you go to the food store, you can see that when you're food shopping. And for restaurants, even more so, because we use such a huge scale of products that there's no way to keep the prices in check. So they're just constantly fluxing, but mostly going up. And then because we have limited seating still, and it's not as bad as it was, they have allowed us to have more seating, and luckily the city was so blessed to give us that outdoor parking space to use for seating, but we're still down 8 tables compared to what we used to be if you take out the amount of tables that we used to have, and add in the outdoor parking. And then the bar is seated every 6 feet, but we used to be 3 people deep in the bar on the weekends and open till 11 or 11:30. We close at 10 o'clock because unfortunately between 10 and 11:30, we get the people that just don't want to follow the rules. And I don't want to be there policing them. So I don't want my staff to have to police them. So the whole COVID has been such a huge challenge for everybody. But definitely it's a unique challenge to hospitality and restaurants. And then furthermore, we lost so many staff that then got hired in other sectors. A lot of our cooks went to landscaping jobs or jobs with the city of Dunedin doing maintenance work and things like that. And then once they got that and they had insurance and 401k and stuff, it's hard to bring them back into the restaurant business that doesn't really aren't able to provide that. So we all all of the restaurants in Dunedin are cannibalizing each other's employees, and nobody wants to do it. And everybody is trying to help each other. Like we're on these chats all the time saying, do you have anybody? But there are no employees.
Mhm.
It's so bizarre. So
I keep
people are saying,
hearing that.
please open on Monday. We're like, that's the only day my cooks have off because we don't have enough cooks.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Like the whole
Yeah.
landscape has changed in such a short time period. And I'm hoping with this new administration that they will start to allow foreigners back into the country, and then we will have an influx of workers.
Right.
I don't want to get political, but that, that's what happened. There weren't people available to come in because they were stopped from coming. And now you have double the amount of restaurants and half the amount of workers.
Yep.
Problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the beginning of the pandemic, what I really admired about what you did and with your staff, I know you were looking out for them all along, but you started a GoFundMe for them.
Yes.
And then you
Yes.
did a, what was it, a grocery drive or something where they got to go?
We did a couple. So at the very first, we closed 3 days before they mandated that we had to close. We saw that coming. We knew that they were going to tell us we had to close. So I thought, let's get in there. Let's cook all this food that we have because we have all fresh product. It was St. Patrick's Day weekend. So we had ordered tons of things thinking we were going to be so busy. And then now we're going to be closed. So what we did was we literally cooked everything, Ziploc bagged chicken and beef and tortillas and cheese. And I ordered eggs and milk and all this stuff. And then everybody got to take, and then they came into the walk-in and they got to pick whatever fresh vegetables and lemons and limes and papayas and things. And it was super cute because we do have a split staff. We have half Mexican and half American, and the Americans went straight for like the avocados and mangoes and lettuce and cucumbers, and then the Mexicans went straight for the chayote and the tomatillos and all that. So it was perfect. They weren't fighting over products because the Americans didn't even know what that stuff was. They're like, oh, that's what's in the green sauce.
I was gonna say they probably were like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, exactly. They don't know how to cook it. They knew what it was because they have to know for the menu explanation. But so we did that, and then about 2 weeks later, there was a company called Del Maguey, which is one of our mezcal suppliers. He said, I have $500 that I can give you towards the staff. And I'm like, well, $500, 90 people, that's not going to do much. But I was like, oh, well, what I could do is buy more product. So we bought more food, and we put more money in, and then we did a second thing where they could come and get groceries, because that was the time when the toilet paper was like non-existent, right? So there were so many things that were non-existent. So we got the staples for them so that we knew at least they had food. And then we did pay them like one full paycheck that we were just like, we weren't even open. Here's a paycheck, just to, because we knew like if they're gonna get unemployment, it's gonna take a little while. And then we did the GoFundMe page, just because, we just knew everybody was hurting, and that stupid unemployment. I mean, some people, it took them months and months and months and months to get it.
Yep.
And then we opened for takeout only. And then what we did was we just pulled the tips and then gave them, split the tips between everybody. So that, again, we just wanted everybody to feel like on equal playing field, because why would one person make money and not the other? We didn't have enough, we only needed a couple people there to do the takeout food, but we had all these employees. So, and our employees are our coworkers. I don't like to say employee, because they're our coworkers. It's the people we spend so much time with and we love, and they've been with me for years and years and years. They're family. And when we're in this stuff, we're in it together. And we love them. And without them, we wouldn't have our restaurant, because they truly, truly, truly are the heart and soul of Casa Tina. So we're very blessed that we are able to get such a wonderful crew together. And so we stuck together, and we're still together. We hardly lost anybody.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're blessed.
So switching over to a fun topic now, Tina.
Yes.
I know that you normally love to travel.
Yes.
So out of all of your travels, what has been your favorite place that you've gone to, and why?
That's so hard. People ask me that all the time, and this is always my answer. I don't have a favorite. I love travel, and I love new experiences. I know what I don't like, so I don't put myself in those situations. I'm not a touristy, crowdy person. Like, I don't like that at all. I don't like Disney's fine for, your kid, like if you have grandkids and things like that, fine. But I want to go and know the culture and
Yes.
experience the food and the people. So the highlight places, definitely Japan, just so absolutely parallel, different from us, opposite, and so beautiful and so perfect. Norway, we spent a month in last year, and it was just one of the most visually stunning places I've ever been in my life, and inspiring because they take care of their people. Nobody goes without. Their social services are incredible. They took all the money. Norway is rich because of oil, and they took all that oil and made a fund for everyone in the country. So everybody in the country has benefited from their richness from oil.
Wow.
So that's just such an inspiring thing to see. But I definitely gravitate towards all those like very green and natural places: Slovenia, Croatia, Montenegro. I love Latin America. A huge surprise was Ecuador. Such a beautiful country. We went through, it's called Avenue of the Volcanoes, 100 volcanoes down the center, and we went on a train like right through them. So beautiful.
That sounds amazing.
People were so humble. Mexico, I love the country of Mexico, the people, the culture. I think that's reflected in the events that we do. Yeah, there's so many.
So the real question.
49 countries, but there's 198. So there's so many to go to.
That was what my real question was going to be. Well, then where have you not been to? But you just answered that.
Yeah, it's funny when people say you've been all over. I'm like, no, there's so many countries. We have been to a lot. We had fun. We did a trip where we started in St. Petersburg, Russia, and we went on the train all the way through Russia into Mongolia and through China. And that was like an incredible experience. We've been to a lot of places, but there's so many beautiful places to explore in this world. And I want to go to all of them, except where women don't have rights.
Yeah, true.
We experienced that once in Morocco. Now, Morocco has gotten better. When we were there, we were in Tangier, and women were treated terribly. And it's hard for me to go somewhere where, as a tourist, I'm being treated one way, but the poor women that live there don't have human rights. So that's the only places I don't really want to go to.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you, me, and Tia all have in common: our love of travel and experiencing the culture of each place.
That's awesome, because we always think that what we like is what other people like, and that's not necessarily true. There's so many people that don't want to travel. It's not their cup of tea. I would say that it's the best education. It's the best way to understand people and to bridge differences between people, because once we realize that we are all just human, we're all just trying to take care of our families and make a living and have a great life and have happy days. But some people, that they don't really care. And that's okay. That's okay. But it's hard because I don't understand that.
I know plenty of people that are happy with their annual pass to Disney World, and they just keep going back and nowhere else. And I'm not one of those people. I need to see new places. So big question is, what's the next place that you're going to go to once travel resumes again?
So we were going last year. We had to cancel everything. But we try every year to go to some places we've never been before, because again, we want to tick off a couple of the wish list places, and then go back to places that we also enjoy, because we know that we're going to enjoy that, but not necessarily the exact same place, but the country.
Right.
So we had plans last year. We were doing, again, I'm a big cyclist, so we were going to do the Moselle River in Germany on bicycles through the vineyards, and that was a girls' trip. So we're hoping to replan that. And then the Azores, which is off of Portugal, there are islands there that are very much like a little bit like Hawaii, but Spanish. So marrying that beauty of nature and then the Spanish language, or I should say actually Portuguese language there. So we hope to replan that. And then we were going to Turkey for the first time. And again, our kids love to travel with us, even though they're so old, which is such a blessing. So they were going to go to Turkey with us. And there's that one city, and I don't even know how to say it, Cappadocia or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that it has the number one, the largest amount of hot air balloons in the world, and you go over the cliffs and everything. We love hot air ballooning just because it's like you think it's scary, but it's not. It's really beautiful and fun. So we were going
To
to
me,
do
it
that with
sounds
the
like my
kids.
worst nightmare, but I'm afraid of heights. So
It's on my bucket list.
Yeah, no, we've been a few times, and it's always like a beautiful thing to do for sunrise, and then have some champagne. It's just something we've done a couple times with the kids in beautiful locations. So we wanted to do that. And then next to Turkey is the country of Georgia, because I said that to someone, Georgia, and they're like, "You're going from Turkey to Georgia?" I was like, "Well, there's a country called Georgia." We were going to go there as well. And then we always kind of land somewhere at the end that is like comfortable, that we know a little bit more, just to kind of take a breather and be like, that was amazing, but let's, so we were going to Italy again. We just love Italy so much. It's so pretty.
My favorite.
I love all that. Yeah, I love Spain too, but I always go back to Italy. I don't know why.
What's your favorite area of Italy?
Piedmont.
Oh, I haven't been there yet.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's the food capital. So it's the gourmet, the food lover, the foodie. Of course, Italy is all about food everywhere, but in that area, it's just, there's so many specialties in each of the little villages that are so different from one another. And it's right near Torino. So it's kind of like the undiscovered place for Americans, because it is very popular with Italians. But because it's not Rome or Venice or Florence, it's not as well known, which I like, because it's really quiet and gorgeous. And I've been there a couple of times, and the last time I went with my daughter, again, we had way too much fun. We bought some of those huge magnums. We have them lined up down here. We have 4 gigantic magnums of Barolo. Nice. And then we couldn't have any parties during the holidays to drink them. So they're just all lined up down there.
They're ready. They're waiting.
Yeah. But then I like also the area like Verona, where Romeo and Juliet are from. The reason I like that area is because then you can go to France, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and Croatia so easily. So it's like right at that top, top east corner of Italy, and you can go all over. But we're going to Matera, and Matera there's bread called Pan de Matera, the bread of Matera. And that's one of those cliff places where your hotel room is like built into the rocks, and it's all lit with candles. And so we actually have credit for there, because we were supposed to go there last year, and now we can't go this year either because we're still not welcome. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. I know that you've been very instrumental in some of the large events in downtown Dunedin that are now annual events.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about those events that you started personally.
Sure. So the two that we spearheaded, and there are events, are Cinco de Mayo and Dia de los Muertos. And Dunedin has great events, the art events, the Wines of Blues and Mardi Gras, and St. Patrick's Day, really fun events. But the events that we do really are meant to bridge the gap between the two cultures. Cinco de Mayo is not a big holiday in Mexico. Nobody celebrates it there. It's a regional event from the city of Puebla in the state of Puebla that celebrates a battle that was won. That was kind of like the battle cry to get people to fight for their independence. So it was important in that matter. But it's not their Independence Day. They don't celebrate it. People don't take off from work. It's not about Corona and margaritas. But because it is that here in the United States, what we decided to do was, okay, let's take advantage of that and educate people about the culture of Mexico through this big event. So we have the folkloric dancers, and we have beautiful music and the trios. Like, Mexican music is just like United States music in that we have country music, folk music. People always think of Mexican music as being mariachis. Well, mariachis is one type of music. There's trios, and there's soloist, and there's the ranchero music. There's all different styles. So we like to try and have as many different styles as we can. We do, hopefully, great food, so people get to try it. It's not, we're just trying to slap as quickly food onto plates and get people through the door. We don't do discounts on alcohol, which a lot of places do on those days. And the reason is because we want it to be a family-friendly event. We want you to come down with your kids or your grandma and not feel like somebody might throw up on your shoes.
I mean, let's be honest, those drink specials are usually just tequila, like sweet and sour mix. with like a
Or,
splash of
or,
tequila in them
like
anyway.
really,
So
really cheap beer.
Yeah.
And I'm not against like people having fun, but the idea for us is to give back a celebration to the customers that they get to learn something and enjoy, and it's quality music and quality food. It's not about getting wasted. And then Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, people just don't know what that is in the United States. Now, the movie Coco, which is just adorable, has done such a great job to kind of help educate people in an entertaining way about Dia de los Muertos. But we've been doing Dia de los Muertos for 16 years, a street event for 10 years. And the reason that we do that is because it's just a beautiful, beautiful ritual, which you remember someone that passed away, whether it's your grandma, your child, your dog, you know, a famous person that's an icon that you admired. You remember them for 3 days, and you tell stories about them, and you make their favorite foods, and you play their favorite music, and you celebrate, and you cry, and you laugh. And so it's just gives so much reverence to life for you, because you know that you will be remembered. And also our life is our memories. Our life is those moments that we had that we can look back on and say, oh my God, that was just incredible, and that person was so beautiful, and everything. So we just want to teach people about that, and hopefully, even if they're not Mexican, that they bring a little bit of that into their life. And that's what we found. People thank me all the time. It's such an amazing thing that people contact me through email and Facebook and phone calls and cards and things, and they say that we stumbled upon it, we didn't know what it was, and we went back home and we got a picture of our dad or whatever, and they came and they cried and they told stories, and it was such a healing thing for them. And that wasn't really my purpose of it, but the fact that that's doing that makes me feel so grateful that something I just wanted to teach them is giving them some healing and peace. So it's really gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I love that this year with COVID, since you couldn't have the festival, you brought the ofrenda into Pioneer Park.
Yes, I had planned to do it. And again, that's what's so interesting about these things that come out of COVID that you didn't plan, that are great. We wanted to still have the event. We couldn't have it, and we're probably not going to have it. I hate to tell people, but I think the city is going to keep events not happening this year. So I thought, how can we still have this beautiful tradition and get back to the community that is hurting so much? Because we were hurting, we were separated and we were missing our family. And so I thought I'd just do this giant community ofrenda that I always wanted to do. And it was cathartic and beautiful, and so many people enjoyed it. And so now it's going to be part of the ritual every year, even if we have the event. We'll have to build it a little bit differently so it doesn't block the view of the stage. But like I said, it's something I wanted to do, and COVID pushed me to do it.
Yeah.
So
blessing in disguise.
Yes, exactly.
And so with COVID last year, I know that you tweaked your Cinco de Mayo festival also and did a virtual one. So
sometimes I say something and then I'm like, why did I say that? Because I said, I'm going to do something on the hour every hour from 7:00 in the morning till 8:30 at night. And then I was like, oh no. And I did it. Yes.
Well, it was so interesting to watch though, because you had so many different things with showing how to make different dishes and the coffee and the history of Mexico, and just like so many different things.
And then I ran from here in my car downtown, had the kids dance there, and then came back here and got set up for the next thing. I mean, I ran my butt off. I think I worked harder on that Cinco de Mayo than the regular Cinco de Mayo. Which I'm not going to do that this year because of COVID. We still couldn't have a big street festival. So the idea again is always just to try to interact with the customers and have them have a nice time, but in a safe manner.
Last year, we also did the virtual party on Cinco de Mayo, but ours was just me pretty much getting wasted on margaritas while people came in and out.
Yeah,
so it wasn't very cultural.
I don't
or
think it was entertaining for anyone but us, to be honest with you. it turned into a sloppy mess. But it was fun at the time.
Sure, I know. That is the one thing about the Mexican culture in general. It just, people just think of it as fun and fiesta, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if life can just be fun and fiesta all the time, I think we'd all be better off.
So, how can people find Casa Tina's in person if they've never been there before, and also
Sure.
on the web?
It's so funny how just because the web is such a great tool that people ask me all the time, what type of food do you sell? What is your address? And you're like, there's a thing called Google.
Yeah.
But you might have heard of it.
Yeah.
But yes, the title of Casa Tina's is Casa Tina's Fresh, Healthy, Authentic Mexican. So that kind of tells what we sell. And we're in downtown Dunedin, right on Main Street, right in the heart. And so they can find us. We're on social media. We have Facebook. I'm really bad at Instagram because I am older and I just have never gotten onto the Instagram. I'm on there, but I never use it. And then I always ask my young people to help me do it. And they do it for like a day or two, but then they're so busy doing their own, they stop doing it again. But so yeah, we have a website, casatinas.com. We have Facebook. And yeah, if you Google us, there's lots of information for you out there that luckily our customers put, which is really nice because they do more on social than me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tina,
Yeah.
for being on the show today. But don't go anywhere yet because
Okay.
Tia has a special game planned for you.
Oh, how cool.
So
Thank
stay
you, ladies, for
tuned.
having me.
Thank
Okay.
you. All right. Thank you for waiting patiently. And now
Yes,
we're on to
Tia.
the game portion of our
Woo-hoo.
interview.
I'm so excited.
So it always is fun me trying to figure out what games. A lot of times I don't like to go on topic, but this time I found this quiz and I decided to go a little bit on topic, which is what do you know about the margarita? So,
Oh, well, I know that it
Go
was, well, there's lots of legendary stories out there. One is that it was named after a beautiful woman, that a gentleman was making the drinks and was trying to what do you call it? Like flirt with her. So he named it the margarita. There's a
Ooh.
story that in the 50s in Tijuana, they came up with the drink. Then there's a story that in the United States, I think in Texas, another guy claims that he was the original maker of the margarita. What do you say, Tia?
well, this BuzzFeed or Pop Sugar quiz I just found out, hopefully we'll know just as much as that. So we'll find out. So there is multiple choice to it. And so I'll ask the question and then I'll give you the multiple choice answers.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
All right. When was the margarita invented? 1938, 1948, or 1958?
1958, I would say.
The margarita is the most popularly ordered drink. True or false? No.
Yeah. Well, it depends. In the United States, true. In Mexico, no. False.
On average, how many margaritas are consumed by Americans per hour? This sounds dangerous. 100,000, 185,000, or 200,000?
200,000. We're drunkards over here.
That's right. What country has the best market for tequila sales? The United States, Mexico, or Spain?
United States.
Which part of the United States accounts for the majority of nation's margarita sales? The Northeast, the West, or the South?
The South.
What ingredients were used to make the first margarita? Tequila, lime juice, and salt, tequila, lime juice, and Cointreau, or just tequila and lime juice?
Just tequila and lime juice.
Which of the following is not one of the biggest margarita drinking cities? St. Louis, Nashville, El Paso, or Atlanta?
St. Louis.
The world's first margarita machine was invented in what year? 1952, 1963, 1971, or 1977?
1977.
The restaurateur who invented it, Mariano Martinez, was based in what city? Dallas, Texas, Miami, Florida, Santa Fe, New Mexico, or New York, New York?
Dallas.
How does one request a margarita sans salt in Spanish? Do you know how to just say it so that I don't have to try to repeat what?
Margarita sin sal.
Yeah, there is a sin sal. We'll go with that one.
Yeah. It's without salt.
Your score was 0.
Wait, what?
So go over the answers because it's really funny. So
So the
as I said, margaritas
Yes.
are not. It's not a Mexican drink,
Okay.
and it's not wasn't made in Mexico, and so it's funny because it is an American.
Right.
Just like fajitas
Exactly.
and nachos.
Yes. The margarita was invented in 1948.
Okay.
So this is the story that they say is the most widely believed one is the Mexican socialite named Margarita Semes invented the drink in somewhere in 1948. I think that was on me. I think I hit false. So you technically got one right because you said margarita was the most popularly ordered. I must have hit false because it said that that's the correct answer. So it's true. It is.
Yes.
The average amount consumed is only 185,000 margaritas.
Not 200.
Not
Yeah.
200.
Pretty close,
only
though.
185.
Pretty close.
Yes.
But I mean, did they really consider 2020 as that? Because I'm sure
Sure.
it went up for that year alone.
Sure. When was that made?
Either I was hitting it wrong with my fat fingers or not, because you picked the United States, so you got that one right, which that was correct.
I was like, how did I get all these wrong?
I
Oh,
know.
you also
Me too. I was
said-
like,
No, you also
especially
said South.
the
Which is also true.
margarita without
See?
salt one. Like that was definitely.
And did you hear her?
correct.
She said that the South is also true. So
South
see, I
is
got
also
all of these
true.
right.
Yeah,
I
you
just
got
didn't
some
get
of that.
credit.
Yeah, I did.
I
I
was-
hit the thing.
I
I,
was
don't know. This one.
Yeah, you were robbed.
All right, so Cointreau was used in the first margarita.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was apparently El Paso does not like drinking margaritas. The last one, the reason why is also I will take blame for that one because the answer was all of the above, but I could not pronounce the other ones, so I just went with the sin salt. So
Oh.
congratulations, you got 4 right.
Oh,
next
man.
time, ask me about Mexico.
Well, I
Okay.
will say this final thing though: the best margaritas to get are at Casa
Casa
Tina's.
Tina's.
All right. Thank you so much to Tina for being on the show today. It was so awesome to have one of the original business owners in downtown Dunedin, Casa Tina, staying strong 30 years later on the
Yeah.
show today.
And strong female business owner who's just kicking ass and taking names. So
Mhm.
love it. All right, guys. So we've got some events coming up for you that we have handpicked, especially for you from 5/6 to 5/20. And Stacy, would you like to start us off?
I would. All right, guys. So, first up on May 8th, there's the Beer and Burger Throwdown in Safety Harbor at Safety Harbor Waterfront Park from 12 to 6. So, go ahead and get some burgers, get some beers, and throw them down or eat them.
I would suggest the eating them. Don't be wasteful, guys. One world. All right. And speaking of One World, the next event we have up is also on 5/8 and Salty Souls Beach Cleanup at Dunedin Causeway at 9 a.m. I believe they meet over by the High and Dry Grill by the kayak stand too. So go on and clean up the land and the sea on May 8th with Salty Souls.
All right. And then on May 12th from 5:30 to 9:30, there's going to be a Heights Night Market at Armature Works in Tampa.
And coming up on 5/15, which is a Saturday, Barley in Maine is having their grand opening that we spoke about before. And you may have heard a commercial for it at the beginning of this episode. They're going to have flamethrowers. They're going to have beer. They're going to have wine. They're going to have specials. They're going to have so many things. But most of all, they're going to have fire. And you're going to be able to check out the new Barley in Maine starting at 4 p.m. on 5/15.
And then from 5:15 to 5:16 that weekend will be a 5-year anniversary party at Pinellas Ale Works or Paw Brewing in St. Pete. So go ahead and take your doggos because they're very dog friendly, hence the name Paw.
Very nice. And rounding out our choice picks for this time, also on 5/15. 5/15 is a very popular date, but I believe in you all, and I think you have enough time to do everything. we've got the St. Pete French Fry Fest going on at Albert Whitted Park, the Air Park down in downtown St. Pete from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm going to assume that there is a lot of different types of French fries there. So if you are a French fry enthusiast, go on and check that out.
I don't know who does not love a good French fry.
As always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Rate, review, subscribe. We're up to 16 whole reviews going on our Apple podcast. So not to brag, but we're kind of a big deal.
We're looking for 20. So
yep, we're trying to get 20. We need 4 more and then we quit. So if you guys want us off the air, 4 more reviews, never again have to listen.
All right, guys. Until next time.
Adios.
Adios.